Hi, welcome back to the MEDICARE Show. I'm your host and Medicare advisor, Jeffrey Kuhn, and I have a special guest again with Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield and Univera, Darcy.
Hello, everyone.
So we've got another hot topic, I call it. It's one of the things I always get phone calls and asked about. And I'll tell you, this is one of the probably most frustrating benefits because I get so many people that call about this, and I wish I had a better answer. And it's always, I guess what we'll call this podcast is, what's the deal with dental, right?
What is the deal with dental?
I get more questions and calls. I've had people in here looking for dental insurance. And I don't know if I've ever told you, but I usually tell them it doesn't exist, right? And I hate to say this, but I get people that call like, and the last one I got my spouse, right? They need all this dental work. And I need to get dental insurance to cover it. I go, think about it this way. If you're in a car accident, you don't have car insurance. And car insurance is available anytime. You're not required to have it. Do you think you could get decent car insurance if you can just go get it after you wreck your car? I go, it just doesn't exist. It's not really what insurance assured risk works out to be. However, there are some dental benefits, right? And
there certainly are.
You know,
what's the deal with dental?
What's the deal with dental?
Because we do have you covered here at Excellus as a Medicare member. So yes, we do offer a dental benefit for our Medicare members. Essentially, we offer a preventative piece that is no cost to the member. The one thing to keep in mind with a preventative, this would be like your 2 oral exams, 2 cleanings, 2 x-rays, and then your full mouth x-ray every 36 months. There is no cost to that when you're using an in-network provider. In-network. So you can still use an out-of-network provider for your dental. That's absolutely fine. We know that there are definitely members that have seen the same dentist for decades and they don't want to have to change that. You just need to be aware that if you use an out-of-network provider, especially on the preventative piece, that there is the opportunity that if the provider charges more than our fee schedule allows, there's a potential for balance billing. So you do want members to be aware of that so there's no surprises.
I get asked, and I tell people this all the time, and it still comes back, and I go, you've got to be really careful because these dental programs, especially with Medicare Advantage, have not been around all that long.
Yeah.
A lot of dentists just don't take insurance. And the ones that do, you got to be careful because what I found that people have come back, and I go, you've got to check with your dentist. And at first people come back and say, my dentist said that they either accept it, yes, we accept it, or we'll bill them. And I've learned that means they're typically not a network, not one of the preferred providers. People think they are until they find out that the benefits they have don't cover the services.
Yeah. So, the one thing with if you do use an out-of-network dentist, just be prepared because they may not want to submit the claim on your behalf. So if that is the case, again, members need to be aware that they may need to pay for that service up front and then seek reimbursement from the plan. All it really is ultimately is we have a dental claim form. You can either have the provider fill it out if they're willing to, or the member fill it out. There's specific pieces to it to really just pay attention to what they're requiring or asking. And having the bill attached to it that you receive from your provider is also helpful. We don't run into a ton of out-of-network dentists. We do here and there. But I would say that we definitely have a pretty strong dental network.
Any idea if you see an out-of-network dentist with just your preventative, what's typically the outcome?
It's been mixed. So we have had some providers that are willing to submit the claim on behalf of the member, and it pretty much goes like easy peasy, but there are times where they're not willing to do it. So that member, they pay out of pocket and basically hand us over the receipt, hand over the claim form, and then the plan takes it from there and reimburses them.
That's pretty easy.
It is pretty easy. And, even the $1,000 annual benefit, so there's a second part to this. There's also a Class 2 and Class 3 $1,000 allowance that we provide. It does not eat into the preventative. They are totally separate. Yep. So you have your $1,000, no co-insurance, no co-payment. Again, it does include in or out of network dentists. Just be aware with the out of network, you might have to pay up front and then seek reimbursement up to that $1,000.
Yeah.
But some of the covered services with that class 2 and 3, these are things like your fillings restorative, your periodontics, your oral surgery, root canals, crowns, bridges. Let's see, oral surgery. One thing to keep in mind, implants are not covered.
I was just going to say that,
Yes.
that's the one thing I get calls about. I just got an estimate. Typically, it's in the $5,000 to $7,000 range is what people are getting for an implant.
Yes.
They're like, I got to get insurance for this. I go, it doesn't exist. It's cosmetic.
Yeah. So that's a tough part. And we have seen, luckily it's been a very small amount, but we have seen claims come in where the person is going in for something related to an implant and having services done, and then the plan is rejecting that claim because of the way that it's coded and that the word implant is somewhere in that claim.
I've seen people that have had dental work done, and they looked and said it was kind of preparatory work that they would do for an implant.
Yeah.
A normal procedure that would normally be covered wasn't covered for that very reason.
So
you want to be aware of it.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very extensive what this will cover, even things like dentures. We do have coverage for that as well, but you just want to be aware, like implants, yes, they're expensive, but unfortunately there is no coverage for those. Whether or not that'll change, I don't know, but we definitely have our members covered when it comes to the dental department.
It's a great benefit because
It
I'll tell you,
really is.
most of the dental plans you find out there, if people say, I want to get some ancillary dental benefits, I always warn them, take a good hard look at it. There are certain companies that provide it, but when you look at what you're paying in premium, right? And then
Is it worth it?
Is it worth it? Because a lot of them, you're essentially financing your cost, your dental benefits with this premium.
Yeah.
And then, I did an example of another company that had a dental benefit as a rider. I said, okay, here's your maximum dental benefit. Let's deduct the cost of that for the year, right? And then I factor if you see a dentist that's not in network, your reimbursement rate, you lost money.
Yeah.
Like you've got to be careful with these other programs. But the $1,000 you get, it's very affordable. There's no rider with it. It's free. It's included benefit.
It's a $0 cost to our members.
Yep.
And the other thing to keep in mind when you mention that sometimes members might have other coverage, just be aware with Excellus, we really, with the claims, like we have no idea what other type of coverage that you have.
Yeah.
So with that, there's really no, and I'm like, the word is totally lacking at the moment, which is not making me happy. But we essentially do not coordinate benefits. That's what I was looking for. So there's no coordination of benefits.
I've had some people have come in and said, look, and I've exhausted my dental benefits with this other insurance company. Are these benefits in addition to what I had this calendar year? They are typically. They don't, as long as you're not moving within Excellus, because that $1,000's $1,000. If you switch plans, it doesn't start over.
Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned that because we do get a ton of questions where somebody, say they start out on the Part B refund, the extra plan, and throughout the year something happens where they need to change to a different plan. And one of the biggest questions we got, okay, great, so that $1,000, that must like rejuvenate or reboot.
Right.
It does not. So it's basically the balance of whatever you have left over from whatever plan through Excellus you were on previously. If you used 500 of your 1,000 while you were on the extra plan and then you moved to the select throughout the calendar year, you're only going to have that 500 remaining.
Question I get too, let's say it's July and I switch, I've got Excellus, I'm new to Excellus, right? You talk about that reset date. When do the benefits reset? Because some people think, is it 12 months? Is it a calendar year? I get asked the question.
Calendar year. So essentially, you have up until the end of the year to use that $1,000 benefit. And generally speaking, with the claim form, I believe it's about 180 days they give you to seek reimbursement if it were, say, an out-of-network provider. But yeah, so it's like January 1st, that $1,000 resets every year.
So hypothetically, if I'm new to Medicare and it's November 1st,
you'll get the $1,000.
I get $1,000 from November, December, and I got another $1,000 starting January.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So it could be a great benefit for some. Everybody needs dental work at some point in their life. So
it's not cheap.
No, not at all. I mean, even with the implant, like you said, one implant, you're looking at several $1,000s. So I do wish we covered it. Unfortunately, we do not. But there are definitely other services people need regularly that will we'll help out with. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but for $1,000 no cost, I mean, it's more than most benefits you're going to get with standalone dental after you've taken your premium with it.
Yeah.
And then you get to the preventive on top of it.
Yeah, which is wonderful. Like I absolutely love, because we do get a lot of questions. Well, how much of that preventative eats into my, comprehensive? None, because these are completely separate.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah. You hear something crazy I heard yesterday?
Yes.
I haven't verified it.
I love a good story.
Yeah, but I've got the article. It's in my inbox. So this new client that came in yesterday, he's talking about dental. And he said in Japan, they've started growing teeth.
What?
Yeah. He goes, they're about 5 to 10 years away from this being available like to the general population, but they're successfully growing teeth.
That is insane.
In lieu of implants. I don't know. I've got it in my inbox. I've got to read this thing to see what this is about.
Yeah, you need to share it too.
I go, you got to send me this thing. This is pretty crazy.
But
some of the advancements with some medical and things outside this country are way further ahead.
Very much so.
But Japan's the first country that successfully started growing teeth.
Wow. Yeah, you'll have to send that to me.
Yeah, I'll have to get that over to you.
Super interesting.
Anything else we need to know about dental that you can think of?
I think we pretty much touched on the biggest things. Definitely, there's no reset if you change plans. Again, just, try and use an in-network dentist if possible. If
makes a big difference.
It does make a big difference. And, if for some reason you do have to pay out of pocket, you can reach out to Jeff, you can reach out to our customer care team, and we have the PDF of that form that you would need for the reimbursement, and it's out on the Excellus website too.
Here's a question for you. Let's say I just called Jeff yesterday. I don't want to bother him again today for some reason.
Sure.
And I'm pretty computer savvy. Is there a place I can find out if my dentists or what dentists are a network around me?
Absolutely. So our Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield website, on the landing page, there is a Medicare tab. So if you click on that Medicare tab, it gives you basically a library of options where, find a doctor, find them by specialty, find them you can punch in your zip code. You can either register if you want, where, that has some perks where you can do like bill pay or whatever you need to do, look at claims. Say you don't like paper, you can go paperless and just have all of that available on your registration portal. Or you can actually register as just a guest once you type in, for instance, you type in 14626. Any providers that in that area will essentially populate. And it's really a PDF where you can either print the list, download it, but there's a ton of valuable tools out on that website.
Great.
I definitely encourage people to really peruse that. There's everything from your evidence of coverage out there, claim forms if you need them. If you ever needed to, which we hope not, but if you ever needed to file an appeal or anything like that, all of that information is out there. Lists of specialty pharmacies. There's just a host of information that's really valuable. It really helps our members kind of self-serve and get comfortable as well.
I use it quite often.
I use it daily.
As easy as a searchable PDF. It's
Agreed.
Up to date. Looking for provider, dentist. You can search by zip code with the website at least.
Yeah.
And people can look right around them, especially when it comes to primary care doctors now.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a whole nother topic.
It is. And we can always cover that another day too. But, and there is a directory as well. Members can request like a hard copy of the directory if they want. Usually that has to go through customer care. Yeah. But it's easily searchable. And again, it's either by location, essentially the type of what the provider does, the name of the building. There's a multitude of ways to search that and make sure that your provider is a network.
Yeah, and I usually advise people, talk to your friends, like
Absolutely.
Your neighbors. Who are they using? Are they happy with them?
Yeah.
It's not like shooting a dart and you randomly walk into somebody you don't know.
Yeah.
That's usually how our clients find us, as they're talking to somebody.
Yeah, referrals are a huge thing.
Yeah.
They absolutely are. And people talk. So,
they're
gonna be very honest when they like something and when they don't.
Yeah, I hear a lot about.
You're gonna know.
I'll tell you, people talk about the dental providers, and I'll call organizations that are out there. And I've heard more information, which I'm not going to say for the fear of being sued by one of them, but there's places you want to avoid for sure.
Yeah.
That are out there that advertise a lot. But, I always tell people, talk to, people you know and trust. Who do they use? Do they like them?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the best ways to do it.
And find out, are they in network with the insurance?
Yeah. And members can also call our customer service if they're not comfortable with the technology piece, and just say, you know, this is where I live. I'm looking for a provider in the area. Is there any way to send me a list? Or they can assist with that as well.
I've told people, you know, not to pass the buck on it. I try to answer the questions, but I said, don't be afraid. Call the number on the back of your card, member services.
Absolutely.
You're going to get somebody that's, I hate to say this, it's easy to understand, that can help you.
Yeah.
And everybody said they're extremely helpful and they're really good, and you're not on hold forever.
No, which is great.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what kind of draws back to the localism of Excellus. I mean, we've been in business for over 90 years. We have wonderful working relationships with our providers, and we're local. So pretty much all of our staff are likely your friends and neighbors. So they're all based in the Rochester region. So you know that when you're calling, you're getting somebody that could be living next door to you. You don't know.
That helps you. They know they're very familiar with the area,
absolutely.
Which is really good. Yes, they've had a really good experience when they've had a call in. So
that makes me very happy to hear. You know, I guess our whole mission is really to just service our community and not sell them on something. So, you know, again, the whole everybody benefits. That's what we're here for.
I know. And I tell people, talk to your doctors. Who do you like? Who do you don't like? And I can tell them, I go, I bet you this is the list in the order of that list. But so that's the deal with dental, huh?
That's the deal with dental.
That's the deal with dental. All right.
We always say, smile, we've got you covered.
All right. Darcy, thanks for giving us all this information. And I'm sure that's going to help your members and certainly my clients, because they always ask, and I figure this would be a great resource for them.
Agreed. So thanks again for having me today.
Yep. So if you know anybody else that's got Excellus or looking for information on the dental plans, by all means, give me a call. You can certainly share the video and comment if you have any other additional questions. So thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.